A while back, we were lucky enough to have one of Diddy's many madames come on the show to reveal all. Well, we've got her back. So happy to have her here. And we got to talk about all these allegations. What did she know? Let's do this. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signore, and I'm so happy to have back. Nives is here. How are you doing?
Hi, Andy. I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me back.
So wonderful to have you back. So much has happened since you were last here. Your two-part interview with us back in the day before everyone's now been talking and going crazy on this subject. You revealed a lot, and we got a lot of insight from you. But clearly, a lot of people were holding back. They were still worried. They weren't sharing as much. I know you had already been put through the ringer by Diddy and his team. I wanted to get you back on to sort of get your reactions and see if anything else has come to light in your mind or people you've spoken to now that over 120 people have come forward with serious allegations. So serious, he was denied bail. I guess I want to start there. Are you surprised that it's gotten this intense, this many allegations? We've even now heard a 9-year-old. What was your reaction as all this was unfolding?
Well, I mean, I can't say that I'm happy that someone is losing their life for everything that they have worked for, but at the same time, he is an abuser, right? As far as we have already seen, which is proven with the video with Cassie, right? Everything that is everyone that has come forward now, we have to see what evidence they have. But I can certainly believe it just because of the behavior of him that he has showed over the years. And just in general, the industry has accepted this behavior for many, many years. People have watched it. And I think now that he is in jail or locked up, people feel more safe, I mean, men and women, to come forward with everything that they knew, with all their secrets that they might have been afraid, to talk about it before.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I want to get your thoughts on, but just overall, like you worked for him. I mean, you did, right? You supplied sort of women and stuff. Things happened. I guess, does this surprise you? Had you felt like this was possible by him specifically?
Well, you have to see yes and no. The yes part is I have talked to people that have worked for him, and they have been mistreated and they have told me certain things about it. And at that time, I was like 22, 23. I didn't really know what kind of advice I could have given them, but just go away from him or just don't work for him anymore. But you have to see that the one thing is working for such a big mogul, especially if you want to make it in the industry, you don't want to cut or burn bridges, right? And maybe they felt like I have to endure all this abuse just to get to a better place in my career, or I have nowhere else or nothing else to do, just, my talent. And then, of course, you have to see not just that he's very powerful, but maybe they felt like they've been told, if you do A, B, C, and D, if you are part of this family, you just have to endorse certain things. That's the way, that's hard work. But it's not hard work. Hard work is working on your craft, being the best possible version of yourself, and not being abused. But it's obviously, young women and young men, as we heard as well, have been told you have to go endure this abuse to become famous, to be out there and to show off your talent.
Well, I guess the reason I'm asking you surprised is like everyone's saying now, Jaguar White, everybody's coming out forward and they're like, everybody knew what was really going down. Here's Ashton Kutcher terrified now, clearly doing damage control. He's going to make false allegations about me, where it's like, come on, Ashton, you were way tighter. You didn't just go to one party. I guess that's my question. And I can hear you're being safe. I understand why. But what do you think of that accusation that everybody in Hollywood knew? Everybody knew that at a certain point that party took a turn. Do you know what I mean? Do you think that's fair and public knowledge and accurate?
Well, I cannot say everybody knew, because maybe some people, they just, excuse me, have not been to those parties or to the late parties. I think there are parties that were into the open in the club, so like in some sort of mansions, and then there were later parties that not everyone was participating in. So, but what people knew is he had bad business deals. People were dying around him. Women were afraid of him. So all this behavior people have known about, excuse me,
Yeah, as you're sorry, catch yourself as she gets her
Yeah.
cough. But yeah, you're right, and they've even said A-listers knew the signal to leave the party, like when basically the dancers started getting more scantily clad, was like, okay, get out of here. And I guess that's the excuse that many people are going to make, and it may be valid that yeah, this was just turned into a consensual adult party at a certain point. The allegations and the serious allegations that have now come forward with the drinks and everything else, I guess safe to say not everyone knew it got that nefarious.
Yeah, I mean, again, probably some people were part of it, probably some not. But the fact is that those accused, I mean, imagine, let's say you go to this party, you want to go to a Diddy party. That's not even a question because everyone wants to be there with all these famous people, good-looking people, but you don't participate in being drugged and abused. And that is a little bit the difference. Yes, you want to be there, but that is probably the point that you don't want. And then how now, as a victim, are you going to prove maybe you don't have video, I mean, especially back then. Do you have video evidence? And then you're going against someone that is so big and so powerful. And then if you want to make it in the industry and you are the person that came out with all this information, you're just going to basically destroy your dream. So people going to probably use Hollywood, people from Hollywood, they're just going to say, well, those are girls, those are groupies, they wanted to be there, they wanted to hook up. It might be true in some cases, but in other cases not. Again, it's just like doing it on your free will or being drugged and abused, you know?
Right.
You have to make a difference between that.
Just because people were doing it in front of people does, if they're doing it consensually, I guess the point being, yeah, as long as everyone is aware of what they're doing and knowing what they're doing, that's not the issue. Exactly. If they're being substanced, we have to say, and against not their permission, that's when things obviously aren't okay. I mean, so yeah, there's lots of things coming in about people who witnessed these Diddy's parties and what happened. And I want to talk about the 1,000 bottles of lube. I mean, that seems extreme. No, it's even Costco had to come out and sort of fight back on Diddy's lawyer's accusation. Well, he just buys in bulk. I mean, in your experience as a madame, having 1,000 bottles of oil and lube, is that fair? Is that normal?
I mean, I owned brothels here in Europe, and no, you do buy in bulk, but first of all, it's not baby oil. That's for sure that what you don't do, because you're gonna have like a special loop for that, and then you're not buying 1,000 bottles. But if that's obviously his thing, so he just probably wanted to have a little backup baby oil everywhere. I think it's more like in a funny way. The baby oil just shows maybe, okay, there's some freak offs, and that's not illegal to have sex parties, right? Whatever you like to do, as long as it's consensual. I think that's the important part, because a lot of people are talking about, oh, girls, they just want to be groupies, want to be there. Yes, I'm sure some of them there are. But the ones that didn't want to participate in it and got filmed by it, drugged, abused, that's something that we have to be careful with because they are victims,
Yeah, you're making a good distinction as a madame. You're like, look, these parties happen and people can go and have consensual whatever at these parties. I mean, we're getting visuals. Here's another clip.
Be singing, the ladies be nice. Hey, yo, everybody, make sure your breath is fresh. And club love, make sure you lotioned up. Get some club love. You know what I'm saying? If you're smoking weed, get the Listerine strips. Please be respectful. Ladies, if they don't want to dance, don't let that hold you back.
It's just weird. It's like to make your breath fresh, get yourself oiled up. If you're smoking weed, do some Listerine because it's about to go down is the vibe I get at this party. And I mean, whether they're getting down or not, this is like my nightmare, this type of scene at a club. I hate clubbing it up. But this is clearly what people were signing up for. I guess, is part of you feeling that way? Do you think there are some of these people who knew exactly what was going on and knew exactly what was happening? And do you think there will be a pileup of maybe some people trying to take advantage of that opportunity when they knew what they were going to?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because, when something big like this happens and they see, okay, there's a potential money that they can make off and just jump on the bandwagon, then they will. Again, that's up to the judge and to the lawyers to decide who is a victim and who is not. And again, we can't just tell people, oh, you wanted this, because we really don't know if they did or not. So that's why it's going to be a long probably trial and civil lawsuits that they have to go through and find out what's real and what's not real. But I can definitely believe it just because of Hollywood. I mean, Hollywood, just the entertainment industry in general. It's yeah.
I mean, it also goes both ways, though, I would say, though, too, in talking it out of like, sure, there were probably people take advantage, but there's people he clearly took advantage of as well, right? With his power, with his opportunities. There's been many stories. Wendy Williams got fired because she was criticizing him, and others have been pushed out or fired or threatened. And in a lot of these lawsuits, we're seeing a lot of these women, maybe they knew something could go wrong, but they were clearly pressured and feeling that pressure. I mean, had you heard any of that through any of the people you know who you were employing, and that kind of bullying or mafioso, Ricos type of stuff seemed like something he was capable of?
Yeah, I mean, in general, in the industry, how many times women have been told, "Oh, I make you a superstar." I mean, how many times people have told me in the industry, "I make you a star. What do you want?" But I don't want to be a star. I don't want to be famous. I don't care about none of that. And it was kind of like that end for it, right? But obviously, if that's your big dream and you have a talent, or even if you don't, then you're gonna go for that, especially someone as big as Diddy. Now, I have to say, associates around him, and those are Grammy Award-winning artists. I have, I mean, dealt with in a sense of that I was around. I did not have relations with them or wanted to be, as I told you, a star or, a singer or a rapper or anything like that. And even those, like, I mean, I have been assaulted. I have been locked into rooms. I have been on gunpoint. It was all kind of craziness happening, and it was just normal around the people around there to being treated like that. But I'll tell you this, it was once it happened that I got assaulted, and it was the last time I was in a room with that person. And it doesn't matter what they wanted to offer me, from money to apologies, did not care. That was the last time. And, again, imagine you are in a contract with that person. That's the person that's basically is your lifeline to success. Then you might just gonna look past that and just gonna let it slide, and then a second time it will happen, and a third time. And that's why I can imagine all these things that are happening. If that happened to me, because I can talk for myself, that happened, so I cannot imagine of all the things that have happened to these especially young women and men that have been taken advantage of.
Yeah, it's scary. I mean, you're making a point. There's almost, you guys got desensitized to it because you are in a workplace that most people a lot of it would condemn, but it is what it is. And in certain countries, it's more legal than others. But the point being, you're sort of conditioning yourself to like, oh, this is just how it goes. And okay, this is the clientele. I got to deal with it. And clearly in that kind of work, things can get beyond gray. They get super over the line with people trying to maintain it. So it is scary. We're learning more and more. Obviously, each of these allegations needs to be proved themselves. There's just a lot of numbers. I want to end on this with you. Just Jaguar Wright. I don't know if you knew her. She's made some very bold and confident accusations against Diddy and everybody, but now she's particularly calling out the nasty practices of Jay-Z and Beyonce, how they were stealing people and et cetera, et cetera. Again, these are her allegations. I'm not claiming these are legit, but everybody's now talking about it. What do you think? Do you think any comments on Jay-Z, Beyonce? Are there other people, or even more broadly, if you want to be more careful, do you think there are more powerful people such as them in this industry that a reckoning is coming towards?
Absolutely. I mean, Jaguar Wright, she has been talking about it for many years. I remember watching her videos, and I felt a relief when I heard her speak, as well as Gene Deal, which I have reached out to back then. It was like 2016, 2017, that I'm not the only one talking about, not just I have talked about it, but as well feeling that way, that this is normal. And they have actually told me, no, this is, first of all, it's not just normal, but you're right. Like, there's a lot of evil stuff happening, and it happened to you as well, in a certain extent. So I was happy to hear them talk. Now, I cannot confirm if everything is right, what they are saying, but I don't have to. It's up to them. We can just listen and hear what actually is going to come out or not. But a lot of things that Jaguar Wright has said, as well as Gene Deal, have proven to be true. So we definitely have to just listen and see what happens, in the future. What was the second question?
Well, I was just going to say Jay-Z and Beyonce are the ones, but to me, what's most telling is just the silence. Like, do you think some of these people, the Jay-Z's and people, should be now out there condemning Diddy at this point? Do you think there's enough to do that? Or do you think it is wise for associates to still sort of hold back until there's an official charge against him?
Obviously they're friends, they're business associates and affiliates, and of course they're not going to say anything because I'm not saying they were part of it, but they were around it. So it doesn't matter how they want to say it. If they come out and apologize, there's going to be more questions. If they don't say nothing, there's going to be questions. I have heard some things about the camp from Jay-Z, not from Jay-Z itself, and seen some things as well, I would say, but I want to be very careful here. That show similar puffy behavior. Okay.
You said from the camp of, not directly him, but people in his team. Got it. Just to clarify.
People, exactly. And very famous people. So again, it's just things that you wouldn't think that they will ever be capable of doing, but then they are doing it. So, but I'm not saying he did or did not. Jay-Z itself cannot say that.
But have you spoken to people since this has now broke even bigger and more? Are people feeling more confident? Have you heard from specific people that you believe have gone through the ringer on this?
Yeah, I mean, I have spoken to some people, and a lot of them are very broken, especially people that been in this industry for a very long time, that just have been silenced and been afraid of, what if I'm out of this circle? What am I going to do with my life, right? But they have actually recognized the abuse and seen, okay, that's not normal. Because a lot of people, they just felt like, well, it's just a part of this business and it's normal and it shouldn't be normalized. So I think it's good that all these things are coming out and people can actually heal and free themselves. If they come out and do a lawsuit or not, that's up to them. But sometimes it's just a healing for themselves, you know?
Well said. Always a pleasure to have you here. If you guys want to follow her, you can go over to INTL International, shortcut INTL Madame. There it is on Instagram. Give her a follow. Send her some support. Always a pleasure to have you here. Please come back if you get any other scoops or insight. Always welcome.
Okay.
Make sure, yeah, of course, and make sure you hit the subscribe button, guys, if you haven't already. We got lots more coming, lots more reaching out. So hit that alert, hit that like when you get those alerts. Leave your comments down below. This story is only just getting started. We will keep you posted here on Popcorn Planet.